Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is my monthly haul video. This is everything I picked up in the month of May 2025. So yeah, let's get going. First thing I'm going to show in a video is something that my good pal Tim Cole, he sent me over right at the start of the month. Ages ago I mentioned to him when he was shopping in CEX near him, there was a title that I wanted to go back to and revisit. Hadn't seen in the longest time, sort of an early 2000s, sort of like teen horror type thing. I don't remember it being too great, but I do have a sort of curiosity to just check it out again. And he couldn't find it at the time, but he remembered, months down the line and picked it up for me and very kindly sent it across. And that is the movie The Covenant. So yeah, Tim, thanks very much for sending it over to me, pal. And he also put in the box there as well a little surprise, which I didn't know anything about. And that was this super cool Hot Wheels monster truck. Yeah, so this looks really good. It's obviously like based on the He-Man series there. So you've got Skeletor. I hadn't seen these before, but yeah, Masters of the Universe. So yeah, nice little bonus in the box as well. So yeah, thanks Tim. Cheers for that, pal. So yeah, I've done quite well this month. I've only really 15-ish titles, I think, which sounds a lot, but compared to what I normally have, it's quite good for me. So yeah, this is first batch here is all the stuff I picked up in CEX over this month. So only a handful of titles from CEX this month. So the first one was just a movie that I watched ages ago on streaming, and with the summer sort of like coming along now, I figured this is definitely one I want to throw on, the big screen out there, and just to watch it on the big screen, basically everything blow up, explosions and stuff like that. And that is a Gerard Butler movie called Hunter Killer. So yeah, £2 with a slipcover. Vague memory of it is that there's sort of like these submarines and there's all this high tension and pressure and stuff, and missiles are firing off left, right and centre. I remember having a fairly good time with this one when I saw it on streaming ages ago. So yeah, I do want to revisit this one, and for the sake of £2, definitely happen to pay that just to be able to check it out on the big screen, basically on my sort of cinema setup. Next one I picked up was a bit like Marcus over X-File 2708. I do like a shark movie, whether it's good or bad. And this one, it piqued my interest when I saw that it had Kristy Swanson in it, and that is Swamp Shark. So yeah, Kristy Swanson, obviously being in the Buffy movie many years ago in the 90s. And yeah, I had watched that quite recently. And when I saw she was in this movie about a shark, I thought, yeah, I'm going to, pick this up for £2, check it out. It wasn't that bad, actually. It was quite fun. Obviously not a great film, it's not winning any awards, but it probably had a little bit more to it than I was expecting. Yeah, I just, one night sat down and watched this one and had a real good time with it. So if you haven't seen this one and you don't like your low budget kind of shark movies, a bit tongue-in-cheek, then yeah, worth checking this one out, I'd say. So this is one of my favourite watches from last year, and I just hadn't got around to picking it up on physical yet. So I saw it on CEX and I thought, yeah, I'm going to pick it up just to stick it in the collection, because I've already rewatched it a couple of times through streaming. And that is The Wild Robot. Yep, so I really enjoyed this film. It's obviously a family film, an animated film, but the animation in here is super nice. Really good to look at. The story's a pretty good story, not for everyone, granted, but me and my little one, we like watching this film, so it's one that I thought I'd put in the collection. So the next one I picked up here was a sequel. I know my friend Nicky over at Skin Crawlers, he had picked up this one, I think, on release. And I remember him being not that impressed by it, I think, from memory. But it still kind of like had a curiosity for me, so I thought I'm going to pick it up and check it out for myself. And that is the movie Pumpkinhead 2. So yeah, really nice slip on this one, really nice release, but I must agree with Nicky after watching it, not much of a film or movie that you'd want to go back to, I don't think. It was okay, it wasn't great. I'm struggling to think whether I'm going to keep this in the collection or not. I just don't see how many times I'm going to get the urge to put this back in the player. So it may be one that gets chopped out of the collection, not too sure yet. So the next one I picked up is one that I've always heard positive things about, and it's one of the only ones I haven't really watched this month. So out of these pickups here, I've only maybe 3 or 4 that I haven't actually rewatched or watched yet. And that is a movie called The Hunt. So yeah, I've only heard positive things about this one. I've always wanted to pick it up and check it out. I know the rough storyline, I think, about this one, but I won't go into it because I don't, I'm not too sure. as far as I'm aware, it's something to do with being potentially wrongly accused of something. But yeah, always hear really good things. So yeah, want to check that one out as soon as I can. Then in a charity shop, I had a little sort of like find in there. It was a Coen Brothers movie, which again, if I've seen it, it's so long ago and I can't remember it, but I'm not even sure if I've seen it the first time round. Yeah, George Clooney, Catherine Zeta-Jones in Intolerable Cruelty. So yeah, that was £1.50. I think CEX charge about £4 or £5 for it. So to find it for £1.50 in a charity shop, I thought it was worth picking up for that money. As I say, I can't remember a thing about it, so I need to go back and rewatch it. Just haven't seen it in the longest time, or maybe at all. So the next lot I got here, there's one here that I picked off of eBay this month through the Music Magpie store on there. Now this got put onto the Music Magpie store, I think about £15-16, which is the full asking price for our, the retail price on this. It's quite a new release, to be fair, but I'd sort of tagged it on my favourites list and kept an eye on it, and then they messaged me one day. It just this has dropped in price, and it went down to, I'm not kidding, £4 and like 70p or 30p, something like that. So I pulled the trigger instantly because it's one I wanted to check out, and that is the new-ish 88 film slasher collections Incubus. So I know it looks like it's got the wrap on there, but I have undone it from the base to check the movie out. It was fine. It was okay. I forget where I heard about this one. It could have been Alan Scouser, possibly on his channel. I'm pretty sure he was a big fan of this one. So I wanted to check it out after hearing his review. And yeah, it's not bad. And I wouldn't sort of wouldn't put anyone off watching it. I'd say check it out if you like your 80s kind of like slasher type movies. It just doesn't have that rewatch factor for me, I don't think. And again, probably one that's going to be on the ropes there to be exiting the collection pretty sharp. So the next few here I picked up through Amazon. So this one, I know a lot of people pick this one up. Quite a divisive film, I think. Some people absolutely love it. Some people really hate it and just can't see the appeal. I really enjoy it. It wasn't my favourite movie of last year. That would go to the substance, but this was quite close up there. And that is the movie of Anora. I did end up going for the 4K. I just don't know. I had a bit of money at the time. I wasn't picking a lot up this month, and I thought I might as well invest a little bit more in some movies that I do enjoy quite a lot. So yeah, picked up the Criterion version of Anora. Obviously, I'm sure most people would have seen this by now, or at least heard a lot about it, so I won't go too far into it. But yeah, Anora on 4K. So the next one I picked up was one that I think I'd seen on a movie list from a way back somewhere, that they were going through movies that wouldn't be made today, sort of like almost inappropriate movies, and that definitely ticks the boxes. And that is one that is called Private Lessons. So yeah, I didn't know a great deal about this going into it, but fairly short synopsis of this one is this sort of schoolboy. He's basically living in this house. His parents go away. It reminded me of the newish movie No Hard Feelings. So if you know that movie and you know the setup of that movie, it was very, very similar in premise, and I did start to wonder halfway through this whether No Hard Feelings was a sort of like loose remake or modern remake of this film, where you've got the situation where this teenage boy is basically set up by his parents to some extent, or so it seems, with this sort of like housemaid, and they basically... She's been left to, let's say, introduce him to new things in life, shall we say, skirting around the things for YouTube. But yeah, he's in for some new experiences, let's say, with this housemaid that they've put in there. And it sort of like plays out like a bit of a raunchy teen comedy from way back, where he's sort of like telling his mate that this maid's sort of like undressing and stuff like that, and deliberately almost it feels that so he can see, and he's like wondering what's going on, and she's trying to lure him in. It did surprise me though, there is a bit of a sort of like twist in the tale, so it was not all just like a complete 80s sort of like teen raunchy comedy. It does have a bit more of a sort of slightly darker tone towards the end, sort of a twist in the tale, as I say, so which I won't go into, but yeah, it wasn't quite what I thought. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I did think it was just literally one of those sort of like full-on teen comedies that was just going to be like that to the end. But quite surprised to find that it had a slightly different ending to what I expected it to have. So yep, that was Private Lessons. And this one I picked up based on hearing my friend's review, Marcus, again, X-File 2708. I was listening to his video the other week, and yeah, this one really sort of sold me on this, so I thought I'm going to pull the trigger on that. He was right, I hadn't seen this one before, and I don't think I'd heard anyone else talk about this one before. So this one's a David Tennant movie, and that is called The Bad Samaritan. So yeah, really good. I saw this one. I think I picked it up, like I say, on Amazon. It wasn't too dear, and I thought, yeah, I got it delivered. So next day, and I whacked it in the player pretty much that night or the night after I got it delivered. Good sort of like thriller tale, I suppose, like quite a dark thriller with these two young lads who park cars outside of a hotel or slash restaurant. Decide that they're going to take the cars back and rip off the people that are going there, basically like steal from them. So they've got their keys with their car, so they just take the car back home, using the car sat nav to direct them where their home is. End up robbing them, and then bring the cars back, and that's kind of the start of it. But they make the mistake of doing it to David Tennant's character, and he's got something a bit more sinister laying around in his house, shall we say, which one of the boys discovers, and it leads down a very dark path after that. So yeah, I enjoyed this one. So I won't go too deep into this one if you haven't seen it like I hadn't, because I don't want to spoil or ruin anything, but that's the basic setup for the film. But yeah, I'd recommend watching that one. It was a pretty good watch. So yeah, Bad Samaritan. So we've only got 4 more left to talk about. So these were basically 4 I picked up on the HMV Premium collection that went on to, not Premium collection, the Warner Archive collection, which was mixed in with the HMV Premium collections. But I picked up 4 movies here. The first one I'm going to show is the only one of these 4 I didn't actually get time to watch before shooting this video, and that is The Ice Pirates. Now I've got a feeling it could be Pedro's movie Kevin that maybe would have recommended this one in the past. It feels like one of his type of movies that he's into. I might be wrong on that, so I'm sure he'll let me know down below if he's watching. But yeah, I remember someone was talking about this one. I'm pretty sure it's Pete, and it made it sound really good, so I thought, yep, I'm going to add that to the collection. I'm going to check that out. It feels a bit like a Sunday afternoon kind of movie for me, so I'm kind of waiting for that sort of time to come along and throw it in the player. And then I got another one which I'd kind of had on my Amazon list at full price for a long time, and I just wanted to pull the trigger, but I just couldn't do it for £15 for a film I knew nothing about, and to be fair, reviewed okay, but didn't review amazingly. The plot really kind of interested me when I read it, so yeah, picked it up as soon as it hit that 2 for 15 offer, and that is a movie called Vision Quest. So yeah, this movie was really good. I enjoyed this a lot. It's basically about this guy on the cover here. He's a high school kind of like wrestler. He does wrestling for his high school team. He's pretty good at it, to be fair. He's one of the best, but he decides that he actually wants to drop his weight down. So where all of his other kind of like wrestling mates are basically like increasing their weight and maintaining their weight to fight in a certain weight category in the wrestling matches that they do against other schools, this guy just decides that he wants to lose weight. He wants to drop his class because he's heard that in another school there's this sort of like almost undefeated champion that is just needs taking down a peg or two, basically. So he decides he's just going to not eat very much. He's running all the time in this movie in like a big old sweatsuit to try and like drop his weight down. He then gets this sort of like love interest come into it as well. Yeah, it's sort of a loose coming of age movie, I suppose, in some respects. But the main theme of this is like he's wrestling and he's trying to get his weight down so he can take on this champ at the end. So a little bit of Karate Kid vibes in there, I suppose, towards the end where you get the match, kind of like the big finale and stuff. But yeah, had a really good time with this one. Worth looking into, I'd say, if you like that type of movie. So that is Vision Quest. Now these were 2 pretty strong surprises, I must admit, on the HMV on the Warner Archive collection. So I don't remember hearing about this film ever before. I'm sure someone would have talked about it. And I'm sure James over at Movie Mad must talk about this one or know this one based on the cast. So this is a Kevin Costner movie called Fandango. It had escaped me all these years. Whether it's well known, I don't know. But yeah, it was literally, I was looking at another one to add to the basket to round it off for like a 4 movies to get the deal. And looked at the cover, realised it was Kevin Costner, read a little bit on the back about it, and it sounded fairly interesting, so I threw it in the basket. But yeah, really good. Again, almost semi-coming of age type tale where these young lads at the time, they're kind of hanging out together. The movie starts where one of the guys basically is about to get married. They're just celebrating everything to say that he's going to get married. All his mates are there, they're at a party, and he comes out and basically says the marriage is off. I've called it all off, and they think he's joking at the start, and they kind of laugh it off. And then he says, "No, I'm serious. I've been drafted. I've got to join the army. I'm calling off the wedding. That's it." which kind of kills the mood, and like everyone kind of disperses. But then it basically follows these like group of lads who are all mates. I think one of them is actually in the army. This guy on the very edge here, I believe he's already in the army to some capacity. And then yeah, Kevin Costner's basically character is being drafted into the army, as well as this other guy who's getting married. And it's basically their last like chance of freedom before they end up doing whatever they're going to do next in life. So they've finished their education, that's it. They've now been drafted, or they've got to go find work. They're all at that point in life where you've got to go from education into the real world, basically. And it follows them a bit like a road trip movie, where they jump in this car, they just, they're larking about, they're messing around. There are some hysterical moments in this one. The big guy at the back here just doesn't say anything for the like 90% of the movie. He's just a massive like brute of a guy who follows them around, and just sort of like, yeah, there's a few scenes where their car breaks down sort of like towards the middle, and their idea of getting it going again just had me absolutely howling with laughter by the time that it finished. Loads of funny moments in this. There's a kind of like a scene in here where they get one of these guys, the army guy, they convince him that he's going to go and do a parachute drop. He's going to do a skydive type thing, and he's scared of heights. That's hilarious as well. Yeah, really good film. Just like one of those, like you follow these group of lads malarking about, messing around, just enjoying life. Their last sort of chance before they have to go and do real world things, basically. But yeah, I won't say too much more than that. If it sounds interesting, definitely check that one out. And then probably the biggest surprise, and probably my favourite watch of the month, I would say, was a movie that, again, had sat on my Amazon watch list at full price for a long time. And I was fairly interested. It sounded quite interesting, but I didn't know how much I was going to enjoy this until I slapped it on. And that is a Carl Weathers movie called Action Jackson. My God, I had a good time with this film. So yeah, this one, again, I'd never seen it before. This is a brand new watch for me. I threw it on my projector in the garage one night in the evening. And this is the best way I could think about this, or kind of tell anyone about this, is if you have seen the movie The Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you are familiar with the kind of like tongue-in-cheek, over-the-top action world that he comes from, where tar doesn't stick to him, cars blow up, guns are massive and loud. This is almost the same type of world, basically, but pretty much that is just the world. It's not like a particularly tongue-in-cheek world. I mean, it's played for laughs, but yeah, it has all those kind of like 80s cop comedy tropes that you'd expect. The police chief coming to the door of the office and shouting this guy's name across the office when he's done something wrong. Carl Weathers does a great job as being this like action sort of star, this kind of like cop that everyone fears because he's such a, doesn't play by the rules kind of guy. He just does what he wants, and he's, a massive figure of a man to sort of like deal with. Really good comedy in this. I knew I was in for a treat when, I think the opening scene, there's this guy working in an office, and this helicopter brings close to the top of the building, and these sort of like 4 or 5 guys all dressed in black and balaclavas rope down basically against the glass, smash through the windows, and this guy like cacks himself, runs to the corner of the room, pulls out his little 9mm gun or his little pistol, and as he looks around, all the guys are gone. So he starts shooting up his desk, and the noise that little gun makes is horrendously loud, and everything on the desk is jumping about 10-20 feet up in the air. So over the top. And then you've got like every time a car like bangs into another car, there's just gasoline explosions going up in the air everywhere. It's so crazy action, 80s action over the top goodness that I absolutely loved. So yeah, check that one out. Really good film. So funny, so over the top, a bit like The Getaway that I watched I think last month. One of those kind of big gasoline explosion movies, lots of kind of funny one-liners, lots of comedy, lots of really good action. Highly enjoyed that one. So that was my last watch of last pickup of the month, Action Jackson. Okay, so that could be a record for me. I think we're done in about 20 minutes. So 15 titles in about 20 minutes. That's all I picked up for the month of May. Thanks so much for watching, as always, guys. I will be doing probably another video some point before my next monthly pickups haul. I'm going to do something a bit different. So yeah, look out for that one, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.